Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, Mauritius Prime Minister Naveen Chandra Ramagulam will call on President Draupadi Murmu on the last day of his week-long India visit to also visit the new Parliament building. Gulf states call for concrete response against Israel's attack on Doha. Gulf Cooperation Council's joint defense body to meet soon. Israel threatens Hamas wherever they are. Trump warns Hamas against using Israeli captives in Gaza as human shields. Secretary of State Marco Rubio will travel to Qatar today as Washington expresses unease over Qatar's strike. US strikes alleged Venezuelan drug vessel for the second time in a month. Venezuela's Maduro terms US behavior as aggression. Trump says he will stop cartels coming by land too. NATO-led military drills underway off the Greenland coast, while Belarus and Russia too conduct joint military drills. Both stress readiness in the face of invasion. Mauritius Prime Minister Naveen Chandra Ramagulam, who is on an India visit, is undertaking a tour to many states. On the last day of his visit, that is today, he will be visiting Rajghat to pay tributes to Father of the Nation Mahatma Gandhi and will also pay a visit to Sadaiv Atal, the memorial of Bharat Ratna and former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. The Mauritius Prime Minister Naveen Chandra Ramagulam also visited Tirupati, a city in the Indian state of Andhra Pradesh. The leader, along with his wife, offered prayers at the Tirumala temple. During a week-long visit, several MOUs were inked for cooperation in technology development projects with India. Mauritius Prime Minister, along with Prime Minister Modi, announced that both the countries are not just partners, but a family. The visiting leader, along with his spouse, offered prayers at the Kashi Vishwanath temple for prosperity of their nation and public welfare. Later, Mauritius Prime Minister also visited the holy city of Ayodhya in Uttar Pradesh. With this visit, Mr. Ramagulam became the second head of the state after Prime Minister of Bhutan to offer prayers at the temple. The Mauritius Prime Minister spent about half an hour in the temple complex and also reviewed the construction work. India's Home Minister Amit Shah will inaugurate the second National Conference of Anti-Narcotics Task Force Heads of States and Union Territories in New Delhi today. The two-day conference will serve as a strategic platform to reinforce Prime Minister Narendra Modi's commitment to a drug-free India and to formulate a roadmap to achieve this goal. The aim of the conference is United Resolve, Shared Responsibility. The conference will hold a comprehensive review and analysis of the collective efforts made by all concerned stakeholders in combating the drug menace in the country and deliberate on the future roadmap. The minister will also release Narcotics Control Bureau (NCB) Annual Report 2024 and launch online drug disposal campaign. India takes a giant leap in artificial intelligence with the launch of the AI for Viksit Bharat or Developed India. It aims to accelerate the country's economic growth. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and other key leaders emphasized AI's potential in transforming infrastructure and agriculture with a vision to boost GDP by 2035. DD India's Rahul Upadhyay gets us more.
India is making rapid strides on the space of artificial intelligence, harnessing the potential of the technology for nation's development. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, joined by Minister for Railways, Information and Broadcasting Ashwini Vaishnav and CEO of Niti Aayog BVR Subramaniam, officially launched the initiative AI for Viksit Bharat, the opportunity for accelerated economic growth and the Frontier Tech Repository by Niti Aayog in New Delhi. The launch marks a significant step in India's journey towards leveraging cutting-edge technologies for national development. According to the roadmap released by Niti Aayog and the Niti Frontier Tech Hub, artificial intelligence is set to become a decisive lever in India's economic strategy. The report reveals that widespread AI adoption and a reimagining of research and development could bridge nearly half of the growth gap needed to elevate India's GDP from projected USD 6.6 trillion to USD 8.3 trillion by 2035, a vision aligned with the goal of a Viksit Bharat. The roadmap outlines a strategic action plan to unlock AI's transformative power and convert it into a substantial economic value over the next decade. Speaking at the launch, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman emphasized AI's potential to enhance urban infrastructure and revolutionize agriculture, calling it a key driver for inclusive and sustainable growth.
AI should help us give solutions for better city urban areas which exist and for newer urban centers that we may plan. I think we need to have a greater understanding that AI probably is capable of giving us in situ solutions without having to remove people from where they are, but keep them there, but give them the solutions which has been waiting for decades.
Information Technology Minister Ashwini Vaishnav highlighted that artificial intelligence is poised to fundamentally reshape every facet of human life.
Telecom technology, semiconductors, electric vehicles, biotech, some of the most complex engines, quantum, rare earth, and a few more. These are technologies which we will have to master, we'll have to adopt, we'll have to develop talent pipeline, and we will have to make sure that we remain in the frontier. And over a period of last few decades, the biggest change which has happened and the biggest factor which has joined this constellation of technologies is AI. AI is also going to fundamentally change the way we work, the way we live.
With this ambitious roadmap, India signals its intent to lead the global AI revolution, turning innovation into impact for every citizen. Rahul Upadhyay's report for DD India.
Military contingents from India and the US engaged in the 2-week spectrum of tactical drills, including the integrated use of artillery, aviation and electronic warfare systems as part of a bilateral exercise in Alaska. The exercise began on September 1st with the initial days featuring command post exercises where staff officers from both sides planned together on operations, command and control and battlefield enablers. Field training followed, patrols, small unit maneuvers and tactical drills in sub-Arctic terrain. Subsequently, joint artillery units conducted live fire drills at the Yukon training area. Medical readiness was another focus area. Indian and US teams trained on casualty evacuation, frostbite prevention, high altitude physiology and force health protection. The final phase saw integrated operations with infantry, artillery, aviation, electronic warfare and counter-drone systems under joint command. India has exported its first ever organic tea shipment from West Bengal to Taiwan, marking a major milestone in agri-trade. The export was facilitated by APEDA under the National Programme for Organic Products. Union Minister Piyush Goyal, highlighting the milestone on Twitter, called it a boost for Swadeshi organic products and a win for sustainable farming. The move is expected to benefit tea growers and expand India's presence in global organic markets. The Indian Met Department has predicted heavy to very heavy rainfall over the northeastern states and Maharashtra till September 17th. Parts of India, including Maharashtra and northeastern regions covering Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura also witnessed heavy rainfall. In In the past 24 hours, Konkan and sub-Himalayan region, including West Bengal, reported heavy to extremely heavy rainfall. Others like Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya, Jharkhand, Bihar, Telangana and coastal Andhra Pradesh saw very heavy rainfall. The weather agency also reiterated that conditions are favourable for southwest monsoon withdrawal. It earlier announced that the monsoon will start withdrawing from northwest India around September 15th. A red alert remains active for Mumbai, with the Indian Met Department predicting heavy rainfall in the Maharashtra capital on Monday. The Weather Department had already issued an orange rain alert for Mumbai and neighbouring regions in the coming days. World Ozone Day is being observed today with the aim to raise awareness about the protective ozone layer in our atmosphere, often referred to as Earth's umbrella. This day highlights the significance of the ozone layer in shielding the planet and emphasizes the need for its conservation. World Ozone Day serves as a reminder of the commitment to protect this vital resource, which helps prevent harmful ultraviolet or UV radiation from reaching the Earth's surface. Meanwhile, according to the United Nations, ozone layer continued to heal in 2024, putting it on track for full recovery by mid-century. The latest report showed that the ozone hole last year was smaller than in the recent years. It added that changes in policies and climate change-related events such as wildfires, however, could delay the recovery. A special yoga session was held on deck aboard the INS Kadmat to promote health and cultural exchange, particularly in Port Moresby during the celebration of Papua New Guinea's 50th Independence Day anniversary. The aim of the yoga session was to nurture physical strength and inner peace, fostering a sense of calm and balance. With its emphasis on well-being, the session reminded all involved of the importance of holistic health, connecting mind, body and spirit for a stronger, more harmonious life. You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, aiming at cutting costs of public traded companies, President Donald Trump proposes US companies be allowed to report earnings every 6 months. US stocks push higher ahead of expected Fed rate cut as Fed's two-day gathering concludes. India's Grandmaster Ramesh Babu Vaishali scripts history as she becomes the first player to defend her FIDE Women's Grand Swiss title.
Welcome to DD India, where a billion voices unite, connecting viewers to the stories that matter. India is not just another news channel. It's the international channel that puts the spotlight on the global south, bringing you stories from the heart of emerging economies, dynamic cultures and transformative voices. As the international news channel of India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati, DD India delivers high-quality content from every corner of the globe, focusing on the stories that shape our future. We don't just report news. We connect you to India's voice in the global narrative. From current affairs to culture, from economic growth to sustainable development and the ever-evolving world order, DD India gives you a comprehensive view of the world around us. Stay connected, stay informed, and embrace the stories that shape our lives. DD India, India's voice to the world.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. An emergency summit of Arab and Muslim countries held in Doha has declared its solidarity with Qatar and condemned Israel's bombing of the Qatari capital last week. The extraordinary joint session between the Arab League and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation gathered nearly 60 member states on Monday. Leaders said the meeting marked a critical moment to deliver a united message following what they described as an unprecedented escalation by Israel. A joint statement from the summit called for reviewing diplomatic and economic relations with Israel and initiating legal proceedings against it. Qatar's fellow Gulf nations, the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain, along with Egypt, Jordan and Morocco, were among those present that recognized Israel. The leaders of the UAE, Bahrain and Morocco, which signed the Abraham Accords, recognizing Israel 5 years ago to the day, did not attend Monday's talks, sending senior representatives instead. During the closing statement of the Emergency Arabic Islamic Summit, Gulf leaders said that the security of their states was indivisible. The GCC said that consultations were already underway among the bloc's military bodies to build the Gulf deterrent capabilities, with the meeting of the group's United Military Command to take place soon in Doha. The joint statement called for a meeting to be held in Doha to discuss further steps to ensure that the safety and the joint security of the GCC countries is addressed.
Expect our strategic partners in the United States to use their influence on Israel in order for it to stop this behavior. We really do expect that. They have leverage and influence on Israel, and it's about time that this leverage and influence to be used.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Monday backed Israel's new offensive on Gaza City and its goal of eradicating Hamas on his visit to Jerusalem. Rubio also took a dim view of the Qatari brokered negotiations for a ceasefire, despite Trump last month predicting an end to the war within weeks. Now, Rubio will travel to Doha on Tuesday to reaffirm America's full support for the Gulf states' sovereignty. He called on Qatar to continue to play a constructive role in resolving the Gaza conflict, saying it could help reach the goals of releasing all 48 hostages still held in Gaza, disarming Hamas and building a better future for Gazans. Qatar is home to the largest U.S. air base in the region. Turning towards U.S. President Donald Trump's comments on the issue, he warned Hamas on Monday that all bets are off. He also said that he has read news reports that Hamas was going to move the hostages above ground to use them as human shields. He repeated his assertion that Israel will not be striking Qatar again.
He won't be hitting Qatar, but he will be maybe going after. Now, there was an article that I read in a newspaper just about an hour ago where Hamas said they're going to use the 20 hostages as human shields. They're going to bring them up from the dark tunnels, and they're going to put them in the line of fire so that if Israel goes forward, they're going to die. And I thought that was very terrible. And I put out a statement on that. You saw that.
U.S. President Donald Trump announced a new military strike on a boat carrying alleged drug traffickers in the Caribbean on Monday. 3 men were killed in the strike. Trump termed the violent drug trafficking cartels narco-terrorists. This development comes after U.S. forces struck a boat that Trump said was carrying massive amount of drugs from Venezuela, killing 11 people. The strike appeared to set the stage for a sustained military campaign in Latin America. 5 U.S. F-35 aircraft were seen landing in Puerto Rico on Saturday after the Trump administration ordered 10 of the stealth fighters to join the buildup. There are also at least 7 U.S. warships in the region, along with 1 nuclear-powered submarine.
What can you tell us about this Venezuelan boat that was taken out? And do you plan to provide proof that these were narco-terrorists who were on their way to the U.S.?
Well, we have proof. All you have to do is look at the cargo that was like it's spattered all over the ocean. Big bags of cocaine and fentanyl all over the place. And it was, plus we have recorded evidence that they were leaving. We've recorded them. It's very careful because we know you people would be after us. We're very careful. The military has been amazing.
Meanwhile, the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro said that the recent incidents between his country and the United States are an aggression by the US, not tensions between the two countries, and that there is no communication between the governments.
No es una tensión.
This is not tension, it's outright aggression, judicial aggression when they criminalize us. Today, I can announce that communication with the US government are severed. They are severed by them. We do not operate under threats. With intimidation, there will never be anything, and they know it. So they have moved from a stage of strained communication to none at all, and history will continue.
De carácter militar.
NATO's Arctic Light 2025 military exercise is currently underway off the coast of Greenland with over 550 soldiers from Denmark, France, Germany, Sweden and Norway. A 10-day Arctic drill features the Danish frigate HDMS Nailstjøl, F-16 jets, EH-101 helicopters and special forces. France has deployed the FS Deron support vessel, drones and mountain infantry, while Germany is contributing observer teams. Key activities during the drills include boarding of the vessels, infrastructure protection, drone deployment, search and rescue operations, marine environmental protection and disaster response. Meanwhile, joint war games are also underway between Russia and Belarus with the name Zapad 2025. The exercise, being held at training grounds in both the countries, is a show of force that both say is designed to test combat readiness. But it has unnerved some neighboring countries after the drone incursion into Poland as Moscow's war in Ukraine grinds towards its fourth year. Warsaw has temporarily closed its border with Belarus as a precaution. Also turning focus to US again, in his latest bid to reshape the American economy, President Donald Trump has endorsed ending the decades-long practice of public companies sharing their financial results once each quarter. Instead, the US companies should be allowed to report earnings every 6 months. The president said on his social media site Truth Social that the change, which he had previously called for in 2018, would cut costs and discourage short-sightedness on the part of publicly traded companies. Trump said that this will save money and allow managers to focus on properly running their companies. Currently, the Securities and Exchange Commission requires corporations to report their financial statements every 90 days. Half-yearly reporting would mark a huge change in disclosure requirements and put the US in line with the UK and several countries in the European Union. Trump's call puts him squarely on one side of a persistent tension between companies on one hand and seek to lessen the burden of frequent market updates and investor demands for information on the other. Updates from the world of business now. Stock markets mostly rose on Monday as traders geared up for an expected interest rate cut by the US Fed this week. Positive signals from US-China economic talks in Madrid also bolstered the sentiment. The US side said the deal be finalized by President Donald Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping on Friday. The Dow Jones Industrial Average edged up 0.1%, while the broad-based S&P 500 index added 0.5%. The movement came as investors maintain expectations that the Fed will make its first rate cut of 2025 at the end of its two-day gathering on Wednesday. The Fed is expected to lower borrowing costs by 25 basis points, although some observers predict it could go to 50 points. The Income Tax Department has extended the deadline for filing income tax returns or ITRs for the financial year 2025-26 to 16th September 2025, giving taxpayers one extra day. The original due date of 31st July was first moved to 15th September and now further extended due to technical issues. To support this change, the e-filing portal will be under maintenance from 12 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. on 16th September. Taxpayers are advised to file early to avoid last-minute hassles. Let's talk of sports now. India's Grandmaster Ramesh Babu Vaishali scripted history as she became the first player to defend her FIDE Women's Grand Swiss title in Uzbekistan. The Indian Grandmaster held out Tan Zhongyi, a former world champion, to a draw and took the lead. Although she and Russia's Katerina Lagno had the same number of points, 8 out of a possible 11, but Vaishali's better tie-break score earned her the coveted crown. She has become the third Indian woman to qualify for the next year's candidates tournament. Divya Deshmukh and Koneru Hampi have already qualified for the prestigious event. The winner of the candidates faces the reigning world champion for the ultimate crown. Thailand is moving to delist the red-whiskered bulbul from its protected wildlife list. The plan seeks to reclassify the popular songbird as an economic species following decades of unofficial breeding and trade. The move will go ahead only with strict regulations to safeguard wild population. Take a look. That brings us to the end of this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. Now, this app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.